righty, Wolfpack Nation. We are back for part 3. We were not expecting it, but we are here.
Hey, when our audience wants more, we give them more.
We just knew it. We didn't even have to put a poll. We just felt just the want from NC State fans. In the future.
Well, here's the thing too. Every good sequel needs to be a trilogy, and so
that's true.
We're giving them the. And here's the thing. Usually, the first one's a good one, right? So I felt our first episode was good. The second one was okay. But we're coming all in on the third one because we know the director, we ain't got no more money after this one. So let's go.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. So in the second part, you would ask the question, Greg, what was the most disappointing loss and what was most impressive win? Yeah. And
we're not going to tell you what it is because now you got to go back and watch it.
Yeah, you got to go see what we said for the most disappointing loss. But now we're going to answer
most what was satisfying the most impressive or most impressive. Yeah.
Most impressive. It's, man, like between those last 5, every single one of them are impressive for one way or another.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
because let's talk about it for a second. Off the last 5, you had Clemson, and that's a team we've struggled with since Dabo's been there.
The whole ACC struggles against.
Yeah, correct. And then so we'll break it down. Miami, Dorn has never beat Miami before.
Never beaten.
All right.
The last ACC team he's never beaten.
Yep. And then we had Wake Forest. Well, we ain't gonna really talk about that. The whole House of Horrors of Winston-Salem. And then you have Virginia Tech, which Dorn and Brennan and 2J and Anai had never won in Lane Stadium.
Nope.
All right. So you had that. And then, of course, you have Carolina. So with that, to you, what is the most satisfying?
So the only reason why I'm honestly picking this game is because it was the biggest spread. And that was Clemson. Clemson, that we were a 10-point underdog.
That's a good point.
So that's what I'm going to say. But I honestly could pick UNC because of the fact that, again, we beat them in every single facet of the game.
Yeah.
Like we beat them on offense. We beat them on defense. We beat them in special teams. We beat them in mentality. Like there was nothing that, it was. We whooped them.
Yeah.
We absolutely whooped UNC.
Yeah. I can't. I don't think you can go with Wake Forest because it's just not a good Wake Forest team.
No, but again, was it an impressive win? Yeah, because we handled that game from front to back.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
At a place that we historically really struggle with, and it was also too right after. And because this is actually why I say Wake Forest is right up there with the rest of them. It's because this was the first game after the MJ Morris news.
Yeah.
So for us to bounce back
Brennan are you
and play as well as we did.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's fair.
So that's what I'm saying. All 5 of them are really impressive.
Yeah,
in their own ways.
Yeah,
and especially because even with Miami, there's a lot of pressure there. Miami, there was a lot of Miami fans there as well. I don't think we've ever really talked about that, but there was a good amount of Miami fans there.
Yeah.
Miami was a 6.5-point favorite for that game, which is the second biggest spread of the 5-game stretch. So,
but we handled them. 20-6. That game was never really that close. We had a nice 4th down where if they score, it makes it a little interesting.
For sure.
But it just felt like we were in control. Like Brennan, again, I think that was we did nice. We beat Clemson, but I thought Anai started cooking with that Miami game. That was the beginning of okay. We've got something because if you remember, they were running a little dual quarterback action there with MJ and Brennan, and Brennan was bulldogging some runs there. Like I remember the one where he had like 15, 16 yards and then a face mask on top of it. Like that was like a kind of a game changer. And that was the game where we had the 97-yard drive, if memory serves me correctly, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and so we that was something that we hadn't seen all year was a long drive. And so to me, that was just the beginning of the I'm coming in and I'm going to do my thing and you're not going to stop me. So for me, I don't know, man, like to your point. So what did you end up going with? You went with Clemson, right?
Clemson.
All right. So I don't want to go with Clemson.
Spread.
I'll go something different, but I totally get what you were going with there.
And because it was out of bye week too, so it was out of a tough loss to do too. So that's why
I'm here looking at my screen with some information. Virginia Tech, I think, because Lane Stadium, that was a full stadium. It was like 65,000 people. Their senior day, because that was another thing. We played back to back senior days. So to go in there and quiet. The game got a little interesting. We only ended up winning by 7, but it never really felt that close. We were just eating the clock out. I felt that was a pretty dominant performance. I think we scored on either 4 or 5 straight drives in that game. I think there were 5 consecutive touchdown drives, if my memory serves me correctly. So I think for me that was probably the most impressive. But
yeah, the attendance actually was 65,632. So you're pretty much dead spot on. So, I mean, again, I'd agree with that. I've been to Virginia Tech 2 times now, and it's a very tough place.
Here's the other thing, and you kind of alluded to it, but you didn't really get into it. Out of those 5 victories, we were an underdog in 4 of them.
So the funny thing is actually,
was it
when the game started, Wake Forest was a half-point favorite, a half or 1 point favorite. It was basically a pick'em game.
Okay.
Right. So there wasn't per Vegas, right when the game started, there was not a single game in that 5-game stretch where we were a favorite.
So it makes it kind of even more impressive, right? Not to say Vegas is always right, but I mean
it's tough to bet against Vegas, man.
And here's the last thing we want to say about. So I have 2 points, and then maybe you can make a couple points, and then we'll move on to the bowl.
Sure.
5-game winning streak, first time in 50 years that NC State's done that. I mean, I wasn't even born, and I said in the live stream, I'm old, but I'm not that old.
And it's not like we beat teams that are like under 500. We beat some pretty darn good teams during that stretch. Yep. We beat Clemson, we beat Miami, beat UNC, beat a very, very confident Virginia Tech team who really came on strong. So, I mean, it was no fluke.
And then, my MVP of the season, and I'm going to say this tongue in cheek, but there's some truth to it. Bye week. The bye week was the MVP of the season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one guy, which we haven't even mentioned his name, but I got to give a shout out to Dakari Collins.
Oh yeah, Wake Forest on.
Man, Wake Forest on. That dude absolutely balled out. I mean, highlighted by that ridiculous catch versus UNC.
Well, he had a good one against Wake Forest too. Remember, almost the same spot in the end zone.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, UNC. Yeah. I mean, he mossed the dude.
Yeah, for sure.
And because I mean, a lot of people coming into the season were like, I mean, this guy was a 4-star wide receiver, top 100 recruit, 2 years ago. Like, where is this guy? Why aren't we getting him more involved? And then bang, here we are. So I mean, going into next year, and because the other beautiful thing is that since he transferred from Clemson to NC State,
he's locked in.
I mean, he's pretty much locked in. So, and I mean, he's going to start next year. I mean, he's going to be your outside guy. Well, at least one of them. So,
yeah, and a little bit on Collins. I mean, he was injured early in the season, so it took him a little bit to get work back into the rotation. And here's the thing, too. It took us a while to get that rotation whittled down to something that you could get some consistent play out of. The first couple of games, we were having 8, 9, 10 guys getting receptions, which, I mean, is fine. I mean, it's nice to spread the ball around, but it's hard to get into a rhythm, right? And it's hard to get in a rhythm for a quarterback. It's hard to get rhythm as a wide receiver. You want to be involved in the game. Mm-hmm. So once we started to kind of figure that out, you started to see better offensive production.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's funny. I'm looking at the PFF right now on the last few games. So we had 3 drops versus UNC. We had 1 drop versus Virginia Tech. We had 0 drops versus Wake Forest.
And 0 against Miami.
And 0 against Miami. So we had 4, and actually, if I look back at UNC, who had the 3 drops, it was one for Kevin Concepcion, 1 for Trent, and 1 for Kendrick Raphael. So I mean, basically, only had 1 drop per a wide receiver in that game. Which I mean, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and not to talk negative. Who was your best unit on? Give me your best unit on both offense and defense.
Offense is tough because they both came on, like all 3 of them came on at generally the same time. So I mean, in terms of who's the MVP,
not who's the MVP, but unit. I don't want to single anybody out.
Well, because that's what I'm saying. It's like the best unit is tough because I am hesitant to say wide receivers because even though KC was that phenomenal, I mean, he's one of 3 starting wide receivers. So I mean, I would say offensive line, but I mean that's tough just because of the fact that they really turned it around, man. Like they were phenomenal those last four games. So
I can't give it to the quarterback just because even though Morris,
he played phenomenal those last.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when Morris, because Morris was in there obviously for 4 games. He wasn't the reason we were winning those games.
No.
But he wasn't losing the games. Right. But what you could say Brennan was the reason we were winning those last 4 games. That he was back.
He was a big piece of it.
Yeah.
For sure.
I thought they all played equally. It's really, like, to your point, it's really hard to single one of the units out. But yeah, it's tough, right? Because not one stands out, and I think we can both agree. Now, here's where it gets interesting on the defense. For me, are you giving it to the linebackers, or are you giving it to the secondary? Because to me, you can't really say safety or corner because the way we play the defensive scheme, or defensive line. I mean, defensive line played really good.
I was going to say, I think defensive line is 100% of the conversation. I'm borderline almost picking them just because of the fact that, I mean, a lot of the reason why we were so good on the run, I mean, Savion Jackson really broke out
Van
this
had a good season too.
Davin Van had a really
How did he not get like second or third team?
Yeah. Oh, and Red Hibbler. I think Red Hibbler is honestly.
He just needs to be more consistent. Because he really only comes in on passing downs.
Right. But I mean, he was your leading sack, guy. So I mean, I'm borderline giving it to the D line, but I mean, you can make an easy case for all 3 of them. I mean, I think linebacker.
Linebacker's low hanging fruit, right? Because you got the defensive player of the year there. So
right, and I mean, and Devon Betty, who's coming back next season, which is huge news.
Yeah, and Cade Fordham played really good at times. Like he was making plays.
Well, and now you're going to see him as a more likely starter next year.
Sure.
So I mean, now what do you get out of him? Being one of the guys next year. So. So I mean,
I think I still give it to the linebackers. I mean, but it's close. It's not as far. The gap isn't as far as you might think it might be.
No, absolutely.
But here's the thing: they all played as a great unit, right? And so that's, I mean, this was a defense that gave up. I think they ended up giving right at 20 points a game, which is incredible for college football.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. 100%. All right, so let's talk a little bit about bowl games here, y'all. So once again, the Orange Bowl coordinator came out and said that whichever team is ranked the highest in the college football playoff polls after the championship weekend will 100%. Be accepted to the Orange Bowl, assuming that if Florida State goes to the championship, which I mean, they were talking about last night, saying that now that they are ranked number 4,
it's hard to jump them at that point.
If they beat Louisville, it's going to be hard to drop them.
Yeah.
So, which is great. I mean, for us, because I'll say too, it's funny. Back when I was a manager, again, obviously, as everybody knows who listened to us, but for those who maybe this for some reason the first time, my wife went to South Carolina, and I remember we were watching because we played a late game versus UNC, and then South Carolina was playing Clemson, and we were watching the Clemson game, and South Carolina had a big play, and I cheered or whatever, and Country, the head equipment manager, came up and he's like, that if Clemson loses and they get knocked out of the playoffs, that means we get knocked down in one bowl slot automatically, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Because basically now Florida State will take the Orange Bowl, if they get knocked out but win, and then Louisville goes down, so everybody gets knocked down one ring automatically. So that's why it's good that we want Florida State.
We do want
playoffs, even though they're probably going to get crushed. And
not my problem at that point.
Not my problem. Exactly, not my problem. Yeah, no.
Hey, but here's the other thing about that. Go ahead, finish your thought. But I'll give you a thought why we want Florida State to win, and it's from a purely financial standpoint because they go to the CFP, the ACC bowl shares.
Monday.
Yeah. And so
absolutely.
that's a couple $1 million that will be funneled down to NC State. So for the 100%. Conference, we want Florida State to
better.
Win. Yeah.
Combined with the fact that it helps everybody bowl situation wise. So yeah, absolutely. So again, let's assume that, because I think that Florida State right now per FPI has a 70% likelihood to make the playoffs, which is crazy. And especially since they lost Jordan Travis. But anyway, so now the Orange Bowl is up for grabs. So right now, Louisville's at number 14.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 19.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's Iowa and somebody
Oklahoma
else.
State.
That's Oklahoma State. That's
right.
in
Notre
between
Dame's
us and
18.
Louisville. Yes. Correct.
Or 17. I can pull it up. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Yeah. So meaning that there is a possibility where if Michigan beats Iowa, which I mean, okay. I sure hope Michigan can take care of Iowa.
Yeah.
Then we would more than likely, I would hope, jump them. And then Oklahoma State plays Texas, which I would assume, again, hopefully more likely, Texas takes care of business. Yeah. So we jump up conservatively to 16 or 17.
Yeah, so real quick, Louisville's 14, like you said. Arizona's 15. Iowa's 16. Notre Dame is 17. Oklahoma State is 18, and then we are 19.
But Notre Dame doesn't take an ACC Bowl, do they?
They do, but not for the New Year's Day 6. So they're not eligible for the Orange, but they could knock us out of like the Pop-Tarts Bowl, for instance, or the Gator Bowl.
Okay. So I think it really comes down to, again, seeing that Texas and Michigan take care of business, which I don't think is too much to ask. And then for Louisville, they got to lose.
You need them donkey stomped, as you like to say.
Yeah, at least double digits.
17. I think it needs to be at least three possession game, 17 or more.
Okay, yeah. Which I'm hesitant to believe that just because Florida State struggled against Florida, but it was also at Florida too. So so that has a piece of it, but also too because I think that there's going to be a lot of Florida State people at this game, a lot of Florida State people at this game, a lot of them.
Yeah. So in theory, like you said, we need to get to 16 because that's about as good as we're going to get. Is probably, 16?
Yeah. So it's crazy. It is going to be it's going to be razor thin. Like, I really do think there's a very likely possibility that it's going to be Louisville State, like, right beside each other.
Yes, I agree.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, my guess is we get to 17 and Louisville drops to 16. Mm-hmm. That's a gut feeling.
Which is totally the NC State thing.
Yeah, right, but but you can't argue it. I mean, other than we're hot and they're not.
Yep. Nope. Well, and that's the only thing which I would say is I would ask the committee, if you play NC State versus Louisville, a neutral game right now, who's going to win the game?
And they're supposed to, and head-to-head doesn't mean anything because you've seen them go against that head-to-head piece of it before.
Well, and again, and that was 6-8 weeks ago. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, and so you're supposed to take the best team.
Right.
And here's the interesting: Boo can't be a part of that discussion, so it's whatever.
Which is,
go ahead.
Which it's funny because this is the most like if there's a time in the college football playoff history we've needed the college football playoff committee to come through for us, it's this right now. So it's really got to be Boo being like, oh man, he's gonna be cringing, man. Oh yeah. So and of course the committee goes, okay, all right, Boo, I think we're gonna put NC State 16 and Louisville 17. He's gonna give a little yes.
He'll be like,
yeah, let's go.
I guess just do what you got to do.
I mean, if you say so, yeah. Which dude, going to the Orange Bowl, that would be
all right. So if it's the Orange Bowl, you going?
I'm dreaming, man. Like it's funny. So my wife and I we're going on a cruise from the 15th to the 23rd, and so with my wife being in healthcare, like she's pretty much going to go through all of her her time, but PTO by then. But it's the Orange Bowl.
Bro, I mean, you ain't gotta go with your wife. There's no rule. Like I saw you in Omaha without a wife.
That's true. That's true. But I was also, the prices to go to Omaha were stupid.
Yeah.
So, but it's Florida. Florida is not going to be really.
Well, there's the other problem too. Is like for most state. This is what I was thinking about too. Like we talked about the would you rather get the 10 wins with a lower tier bowl and opponent or try to get it with the Orange Bowl or New Year's Day 6. So I mixed feelings on this part of it too. It's like Wolfpack Nation travels. Miami's that's a hard drive. Like you're gonna probably gotta have to fly.
Yeah.
I mean, because I looked at it for me to drive to Miami, it's 15 hours from where I'm at here, so it's 11. At least 11 from people in the Raleigh area. That's. And then I looked at plane tickets and I'm like, oh, Jiminy Christmas, I have to sell a kidney to get on the plane to go down there. So
yep.
with that being said, would you rather have more and again, like, would you rather have more fans in the stands or be at the Orange Bowl?
Well, because that's the thing. So, because isn't the Pop Tarts Bowl in Tampa?
No, it's in Orlando. So
Orlando?
that's like 6 hours less of a drive.
So then is it the
Reliquist?
This right? Reliquist Bowl?
Yeah.
That's also in Florida,
in Tampa,
right?
yeah.
That's in Tampa. So that's funny though, how the top 4 games, the Quest Bowl, the Holiday Bowl, the Pop Tarts Bowl, and the Gator Bowl are all in Florida.
No, Holidays in California. It's San Diego.
Duh. Jeez. Yeah, okay. Well, we're not going back there.
No.
Holy crap. Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
Here's the thing I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I get to wear these wherever we go bowling because it's gonna be good weather. Like we're not going to I don't gotta wear a parka.
That's
right? And we're not going to New York. We're not going to Fenway.
Boston.
We're not even going to North Carolina. We're not going to Annapolis. Like,
which I've always said, actually, like going to because remind me, Greg, you went to you were a part of the Navy, correct? But right now, you work for the Navy, correct?
I work for the Army, which makes me sick to my stomach every day, except when I get paid.
Okay. Yeah. So like I've always wanted to go play or watch a game in Annapolis. Mm-hmm. Like it's a beautiful little stadium.
Yeah, States actually played there once.
Stadium. Yeah, a long time. Back in 2001.
Yeah, early mid 2000s. Yeah, or 2000s.
It was Philip Rivers years. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
I believe it was.
But yeah, so I would love to go there. But I mean, definitely go to Florida or go to Annapolis in December. Okay, that's a pretty easy decision.
And my thing is State's gonna stink. And just qualify for a bowl. I'd rather be in Annapolis. It's an hour and a half drive for me, and it's basically a home game. But yeah, every year I want to go somewhere warm. And here's the thing: you want to reward those kids, man, for busting their tails, and they've earned a trip to Florida.
100%.
So so if you told me like rank the chances of the bowls, the most likely bowl is the Pop Tarts Bowl at this point. And then I would go Reliquist Bowl in Tampa. From what I'm seeing, this is where we're going to get screwed by Notre Dame, because it's probably going to be Notre Dame. And here's the one thing I don't know about it is the picking order for these bowls. So I'm not sure who gets to go first. But so I would say that would be next. The Gator is actually the lowest bowl that I would think we would. I don't think we're going to the Gator. But a lot of things I'm seeing is Tennessee being selected for that, and I don't think they want to do a back-to-back.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we like.
And we've done that. We've done that.
Have we ever played a bowl game versus a team we played to start off the next season?
No. I'm talking about we've been there, done that for the Gator Bowl. We've been there multiple times over the last couple of years.
Right, exactly. Well, and because that's the other thing is, so in terms of who would be picked over us? I mean, so basically, like assuming that we don't go to the Orange Bowl, right. Louisville goes, then it basically is which team will Pop Tarts Bowl.
I think Notre Dame will get the first pick over us
because they're going to have more fans just because it's Notre Dame.
Exactly,
it's Notre Dame.
Yeah, so we get the second best bowl in the.
But the interesting thing is, does Sam Hartman play?
What I mean, I don't think that matters.
It does.
It's Notre Dame. Like, you could have 85 ball boys out there wearing Notre Dame helmets, and they probably take Notre Dame over us.
That's true.
Yeah, it's just because they know Notre Dame travels, right? Every town has Notre Dame fans. It's a national TV brand. It'll get good ratings, and let's be honest, that's what the bowl games are about anyway. It's not about fan experience. It's not about player experience, really. It's about selling ad revenue or ad sales on these games. There's a reason ESPN owns like 3/4 of the bowl games.
That's true. Yeah. But in terms of bowl predictions, though, so I've seen there's 4 right here. The ESPN 24/7 Athlon Action have us going to the Pop Tarts Bowl. ESPN has us playing Oklahoma State, which that'd be a fun one. And then the other 3 have us playing Kansas State,
whose quarterback is in the portal.
Right. So that'd be a great bowl game and a very winnable game
for sure. And then Jerry Palm of CBS actually has us in the Reliquist Bowl playing LSU.
Ooh.
So
we wouldn't be favored for that.
Well, game, you might be, because their boys are probably sitting out because they're getting ready for the NFL draft.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
But
well, all you need, all you have to do is tell me Jaden Daniels sits in.
Probably so. He probably does. Switch. He probably does. And the same, I've heard the same with the running back. He's probably not going to play in the bowl game. But if you buy stock in bowl predictions, Brent McMurphy of Action Sports has the best percentage of picking bowls, and he has us going to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Which, by the way, did you see the thing about the Pop-Tarts Bowl? It's a live mascot that you can eat. Like, sign me up for that all day.
Edible mascot. Yeah, I know. Well, especially Pop-Tarts. I love Pop-Tarts.
Who doesn't love Pop-Tarts? So. Like, I lived off Pop-Tarts. Yeah. I mean, do I look like I've never eaten a Pop-Tart before? Like, I hope they give me a lifetime supply. Like, I still got my jar of mayonnaise up there on my thing. Like, if they give me like a Pop-Tarts Pop-Tart, I'm gonna need two. Yeah. One I can eat, and then one I can put on my display case.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. No.
It'd be fun though.
First of all. Yeah, no, it'd be awesome. Well, I mean, to go to Orlando, yeah. I mean, what a great place to go because that's the thing. That's the other thing though, too, is that if you gave me a choice between Orlando and Miami, I'd rather go to Orlando. But obviously I'd rather go to the Orange Bowl though. Right. So it's like,
well, the thing about the Orange Bowl too is, because Miami plays there, it's not in Miami. And you're actually about 30 minutes away from downtown Miami at that point. It's not really that close. But for me personally, I'd rather it be the ReliQuest Bowl in Tampa because that's my hometown and I could go have fun. And it's in the best stadium in all of the land. Like it's got the pirate ship. Like who doesn't want to play a football game in a pirate ship?
Yeah. Okay, Greg. Anyway,
but I think it'll be fun, right?
Like, for sure.
It's nice to be rewarded with a really good bowl.
Yeah, 100%. Which again, this episode right now is coming out on Saturday. So, so the bowl, so the college football playoff polls come out, I think at
Sunday.
Noon.
Yep.
At noon on Sunday. And then we'll know at that point if we're going to the Orange Bowl or not. And then if we don't go to the Orange Bowl, then we'll find out probably within an hour after that.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
It's pretty quick.
Because they've already made all their contingency plans. Like they know if this happens, then boom, boom, boom.
They're going to take this team. Exactly.
I do know the ACC network has a bowl special at 6 p.m. on Sunday. So if anyone, wants to watch that is out there. And of course, tune into Tuffy Talk because we'll be breaking down that game too.
You know it. All righty, y'all. So with that being said, first and foremost, thank you to everybody for tuning in. This was a lot of fun. I know all three parts, man. All three parts. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. Hopefully it was an interesting conversation for everybody tuned in here. But first and foremost, y'all, once again, if you do not want to miss out on any of our new content, do us a big favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Make sure to give this video a like and make sure to give us a follow. Tuffy Talk now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. But thank you all so much for tuning in. We are excited for bowl season. Let's finish this thing off with a bang. 10 wins, y'all. Let's make it happen, y'all. And go Pack, baby.